Andrew Luck, in his first 3 seasons in this league, took an unholy amount of punishment. I've never seen anything quite like the punishment he took.
Literally every game there was a hit that he would take that would make you think, whoa, this guy's got to be in pain.
And the only way I see out to no longer play football, it's taken my joy of this game away, and sorry.
He was Stanford-educated, universally respected, and on track to become one of the greatest quarterbacks of his generation. Andrew Luck didn't just play the game, he decoded it. But then, at the peak of his powers, he vanished. No farewell tour, no warning, just gone. The official story blames injuries, but behind the curtain, there are whispers of something much deeper, something the NFL doesn't want you to know. What did Andrew Luck see that made him walk away from everything? Before the NFL spotlight ever found him, Andrew Luck was already turning heads in high school. He played at Stratford High School in Houston, Texas, where he threw for over 7,000 yards and 53 touchdowns across his career. Even in his teen years, his football IQ stood out. He was known not just for his arm strength, but for his precision, decision-making, and calm demeanor under pressure. Coaches at the high school and college level were blown away by his poise and intelligence on and off the field. As a top recruit, Luck committed to Stanford University, where he redshirted his freshman year in 2008. Over the next 3 seasons, he became one of the most dominant quarterbacks in college football. Under head coach Jim Harbaugh and later David Shaw, Luck led Stanford to a 12-1 record in 2010, winning the Orange Bowl and finishing as a Heisman finalist. He repeated as a finalist in 2011, ultimately finishing his college career with 9,430 passing yards, 82 touchdown passes, and a 67% completion rate. He also rushed for 957 yards and 7 more touchdowns, proving he could hurt defenses in more ways than one. Scouts fell in love with his size, 6 foot 4 inches, athleticism, intelligence, and character. He was frequently compared to Peyton Manning and John Elway, and many analysts called him the most NFL-ready quarterback to ever enter the draft.
Doing this since 1979. He's the highest rated quarterback since John Elway in 1983.
I don't think there's any question. There's nothing he can't do. He's got prototype size, athletic ability, great decision maker, one heck of a kid.
Leading up to the 2012 NFL Draft, there was no debate. Andrew Luck was the clear #1 overall pick, and when the Colts were on the clock, they didn't hesitate.
2012 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Andrew Luck, quarterback, Stanford.
The post-Manning era began, and Luck was now the chosen one to lead Indianapolis into a new era. In 2012, the Indianapolis Colts were in turmoil. The franchise icon, Peyton Manning, had been released after a neck injury that left the team unsure of his future. It was a controversial decision, and one that fans didn't take lightly. Into that storm walked Andrew Luck, the #1 overall pick in the 2012 NFL Draft. He was smart, Stanford smart, tough, mentally and physically, and his arm talent was off the charts. The Colts were desperate for a new leader, and Luck didn't flinch under pressure. He delivered instantly. Rookie year, 4,374 yards, 11 wins, took a 2-14 team to the playoffs, multiple Pro Bowl appearances by year 3. Luck showed poise and command beyond his years. He was mobile, decisive, and unshakably humble. Analysts called him the perfect quarterback prospect since John Elway. Some even dared to say that he could be better than Peyton. He had the rare combination of leadership. His pre-snap was elite. He could audible like a seasoned vet and outthink the best defensive coordinators in football. Players respected him. Coaches trusted him. The fans embraced him. Indianapolis had their new hope, and the NFL had its next superstar. But behind the gaudy numbers and highlight plays was a brutal reality. Andrew Luck was being beaten down physically week after week. From 2012 to 2016, he was sacked 156 times. His offensive line was a revolving door of underperforming linemen. Every dropback felt like a countdown to disaster. Here's some stuff he suffered. Torn cartilage in his ribs, lacerated kidney, yes, bleeding urine, concussions, torn labrum in his throwing shoulder, high ankle sprains. In 2015, it got so bad he played through fractured ribs without telling the coaching staff. That's how desperate he was to lead. That's how much pain he endured in silence. Luck was the definition of grit, but that grit was grinding his body to dust. The Colts' inability to protect their franchise player became a league-wide cautionary tale. Experts, analysts, and former players all began asking the same questions. How long can it last? It wasn't a matter of if anymore, it was when.
I've always hated to see a quarterback fight through an injury. It's just, it's no fun, and I know he's, dying to get back out there. I mean, the hardest thing for me, I can speak for me, and is when you're not practicing.
The shoulder injury changed everything. In 2015, Luck tore the labrum in his throwing shoulder. Instead of immediate surgery, the team opted for rehab. It didn't work. He played through pain for 2 more seasons before finally undergoing surgery in 2017. He missed the entire 2017 season. During his recovery, he struggled to throw even a high school football. Opting to travel to Europe for experimental rehab, that didn't work. Finally, he resorted to using weighted balls, new throwing mechanics, and physical therapy around the clock. For over a year, his career hung in the balance. NFL insiders whispered that he might never return. Colts fans were panicked. The media turned speculative, but Luck stayed quiet, working in the shadows. But before we get to the incredible comeback season for Luck in 2018, we want to give a huge shout out to Toe Mike LaPointe Digital for joining the Huddle Up channel. If you want to be entered into our video shout out giveaway, simply subscribe, then comment "I subbed," and you'll be entered to win in our next video. 2018, he returned, and Luck was spectacular. 4,593 yards, 39 touchdowns, comeback player of the year, and he led the Colts to the divisional round of the playoffs. He looked happy, confident, energized. The Colts had a new coach in Frank Reich and had just drafted Quentin Nelson, an elite guard. Finally, things seemed to be turning around. But there was something beneath the surface, a quiet fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty, the realization that the next injury could be the one that ended it all. But underneath the surface, Andrew Luck was still suffering. The comeback season had been physically demanding, but mentally, it was even worse. Then came the 2019 preseason. Colts fans were excited. Expectations were sky high. The roster looked strong. And then, boom. During a preseason game, news broke. Andrew Luck was retiring, effective immediately. Fans at Lucas Oil Stadium booed him off the field. The NFL community was shocked. At his press conference, Luck shared the truth.
Current team and why it makes it so difficult, I guess, for me to stand up here and say I'm retired. Thank you very much.
I haven't been able to live the life I want to live. It's taken the joy out of the game. He talked about the relentless cycle of injury, rehab, and re-injury, and how he was tired of being in pain, tired of waking up and wondering what part of his body would give out next. Daily painkillers, emotional isolation, mental exhaustion, and fear of long-term damage. It wasn't just physical, it was psychological. Luck loved the game, but he couldn't live like that anymore. Behind the scenes, sources later revealed how much Luck struggled during rehab.
For the last 4 years or so, I've been in this cycle of injury, pain, rehab, injury, pain, rehab.
He would withdraw from teammates. He began to dread football meetings. The spark was gone. And let's be honest, the Colts organization bears responsibility. They didn't protect him early enough. They lacked a consistent running game. They went through multiple head coaches and general managers during his prime. Only when the damage had accumulated did they finally start to build a real offensive line. By then, it was too late. When the Colts drafted Quentin Nelson in 2018, everything changed. But it came just a few years too late for Luck's long-term durability. Imagine if Andrew Luck had come into the league in 2020 with that infrastructure from day one. Would he have been a Hall of Famer? Very likely. And that gamble cost them their golden ticket. Since stepping away, Andrew Luck stayed out of the spotlight. He moved back to the Bay Area. He went back to Stanford to take graduate courses. Now a full-time dad and husband, he also enjoys coaching the local high school football team and mentoring young athletes coming up through this tough game. He has no Instagram, no podcast, no TV deals. He's not chasing fame, he's chasing peace. He's done a few interviews where he's opened up about his journey, admitting he struggled with his identity after football. He felt lost, aimless, but slowly he rebuilt himself. He found purpose in teaching, in being present, in healing. Those who know him say he's never been more at peace. He reads, he writes, he plays guitar. And he spends his time giving back to the game, not just in the way we expected. Fans never gave up hope. Every offseason, the rumors start again. Will Andrew Luck come out of retirement? Could he pull a Brady? Could he suit up for a surprise playoff run? Even Colts owner Jim Irsay once tweeted a photo with Luck cryptically writing, "Never say never." But realistically, he's been away from the game for years. His body has changed. His priorities have shifted. He left for a reason, and that reason still stands. Even if the body were ready, the mind might not be. For Luck, the game once brought joy. Then it brought pain, and eventually it brought clarity. That clarity came with a cost, but it also gave him his freedom. Andrew Luck may be forever the NFL's greatest what if. A man with Hall of Fame talent, a competitor with limitless heart, a thinker with the courage to walk away when the game no longer served him. He didn't need the fame. He didn't crave the spotlight. He chose health. He chose love. He chose himself. And in a league where players are often pushed past the breaking point, that choice may be the most powerful legacy of all. This kid is starting his legacy already. He literally knows every team plays, and his rookie year was capped off by a pick six and a Super Bowl ring. Check it out.
Cooper DeJean makes a lot of that up across the 30. Wow, what a return!
Stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Diagnosed perfectly by the rookie DeJean.